And then in New Jersey, it is requiring all state healthcare workers in places like hospitals and correctional facilities to get vaccinated. They have until September 7th to get the shots. All right, in attempts to get as many people immunized to the the COVID-19 virus, the FDA is now taking an all-hands-on-deck approach to review the Pfizer and BioNTech shots. The agency says it believes getting the vaccine approved will give those who are unvaccinated the confidence to get their shots as soon as possible. Now, the highly transmissible Delta variant continues to spread across the country, further threatening the U.S. from returning back to a more normal life. So joining us now to discuss more is professor and founder of the Center for Medicine in the Public Interest and former FDA Associate Commissioner Peter Pitts. Peter, thank you so much for being here. What does the process of getting this vaccine approved look like?
Alicia, that's really a key question because the FDA has to learn to do two major issues at the same time. That's one of the lessons from COVID-19. We have to address COVID-19, vaccines, therapeutics, devices, tests, and also do all the other important work that the FDA is doing. What the FDA said right now is it's going to take resources away from other things and focus in a laser beam way on making sure that the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine can get a full approval. Right now, obviously, it's being authorized through emergency use authorization. And what that means is that they're looking at Pfizer and BioNTech's data on who's gotten the vaccine, how effective it is, what type of side effects it's given, how that cuts from a diverse population perspective so that we can move to full approval. And that's important because a lot of people are saying they're going to wait until the FDA takes this action. They're concerned that an EUA isn't a full approval, which is true. Once it is fully approved, they say they're going to get it. I'm a little bit doubtful, but anything that gets even a dozen more people vaccinated is crucial in our fight against this pandemic.
When can we expect these vaccines get full approval?
I expect that the FDA will probably issue full authorization for the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, certainly by Labor Day. And I hope that the Moderna vaccine and the Johnson & Johnson vaccines shortly follow thereafter.
You know, we know that those who are not vaccinated often cite, well, those who get vaccines still get breakthrough cases. They still end up getting COVID sometimes. Do you think this approval will change anything in terms of, their perspective?
I hope that it will. I think that it will, because that's really the key question. People have to understand that once they're vaccinated, sure, they can still contract the coronavirus through the Delta variant, but their symptoms are going to be very minor and they'll get through it very quickly. If you're not vaccinated, the likelihood of getting infected by the Delta variant is very high and the consequences are very severe. The severe manifestations of COVID-19, including death, are real. And that will happen to people who are not vaccinated. And it's going to overcrowd our hospitals. It's going to bust state budgets. We've got to take it seriously. Just because you can still get sick doesn't mean that vaccinations aren't a crucial weapon in our fight against COVID-19.
Now, if it doesn't change the mind of some people out there who are hesitant to get vaccinated, what do you think it is going to take for some of these people?
Well, you can't tie people down and make them get vaccinated. We're not going to mandate that every American get vaccinated. Whether or not it's a good idea, it simply wouldn't work. I think people are going to understand that they are going to have to do the right thing for themselves, for their families, for their neighborhoods, for their state, and for our country. They can't be out there being selfish. To my mind, not getting vaccinated is a selfish, non-patriotic act. And I think that's got to be the message going forward.
When do you think some other vaccines like the J&J one and AstraZeneca will be considered for approval?
I think shortly after Labor Day. I think they'll be considered for approval, but before Labor Day. And I hope that shortly after Labor Day and shortly after the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine get full approval, we'll have full approvals for the other vaccines as well. That's crucial. Again, if it moves even a couple of dozen, hundreds, couple of thousand people off the dime to get vaccinated, it's a step in the right direction. Right now, people are using that as an excuse. We've got to take that excuse away and make people recognize the urgency and the safety and the efficacy of getting vaccinated.
If we see these approvals actually happen, I guess the first one obviously being Pfizer and BioNTech, do you think this gives, institutions like schools and universities, maybe even some businesses as well, the go-ahead to require vaccinations?
I think that it will. I mean, right now you've got states, you've got cities, you've got large university systems, you've got medical centers who are mandating vaccinations. I think that's a good idea. Some large businesses and other enterprises are waiting for the FDA to give final approval so they can say, listen, this is a fully approved FDA product, and now we're mandating it. I think some people are waiting for that to happen. I certainly understand that, which is another reason why it's really important that the FDA get these full approvals done as quickly as possible and communicate them as clearly as possible as well.
Yeah, we're all waiting to hope and see that happens. Obviously, continuing the vaccination rate in this country. Thank you so much, Professor and founder of the Center for Medicine in the Public Interest and former FDA Associate Commissioner Peter Pitts.